So we'll just get right into it then. Maya, since it was your idea, who are your favorite saints and why?
All right, Adam guessed my number one was Saint Michael, the
Okay,
Archangel.
the
He's always
angels.
been my protector against anything that I felt a threat or I was in
Okay.
danger. And I would say my Saint Michael prayer. I also say it when I see other people in danger or I
Mhm.
think that they're in trouble or that they would need protection. And he's never failed me. You want to hear a quick story?
Of
Quick
course.
story. I was 7 years old and I was walking to school, and there was a car that pulled up right in front of me, blocked my way. And an old man got out of the car and he was yelling at me, "Get in the car! Get in the car!" I mean, he was like, wow. And then a voice came in and it said, "Run." So I ran and I ran down the hill where the freeway was. So he couldn't drive, down the hill because that was, where the greenery is, or what do you call that? The
Hmm.
greenery that's next to the freeway. But anyway, I ran down, and then here I am running against traffic, or no, with the traffic. But I was running as I was trying to get to my school, so I thought I had lost them. But just in case, I went to an alley and I kept running, and then when I looked to my left to see the what is it, the street parallel, he was following me and his
Oh,
wife or lady was there and she was smiling at me. So when I, passed by another building and I can see an opening where the street was there, I was like, wow. And so I ran all the way and I was trying to figure out all these places I can run that the car couldn't make it through. So I finally ran down the hill. I was going through all the greenery. And then I climbed over the fence of my school and ran across the yard. And we have a big schoolyard. And I always felt that the angels and St. Joseph was pushing me and helping me escape. And finally, I knocked on the door, and the teacher looked at me and she goes, "Why are you late?" And I just told her, I said, "I was almost kidnapped. Someone tried to grab me." And so, about half an hour later, as the school was full of police and I believe FBI, because there was these men in suits and stuff. But the angels helped me that day, and I believe St. Michael was there. So
well,
the
you had to be. You had to have help.
Wow.
Oh
Well,
yeah. I mean,
great
I was
story.
just other than that, I was always one that would pay attention to what people told me. And I thought about a second of getting into the car until I heard the words say run, and I was like, okay, run, run. So that's what was with that one. Of
And you
course,
hear about that a lot, hey? Like husband
yes.
and wife teams, they get the woman to look friendlier and be more approachable and
She
Hmm.
was. She looked like a grandmother,
Lord
and
have
she kept
mercy.
smiling, but he was driving erratically, trying to get to me,
Oh my
Hmm.
goodness.
and I was like, oh,
Did
and
they
it was
catch
funny
them?
because I didn't feel fear. I just felt like I had to get to where I needed to go. If I felt fear, then I would be standing there crying or something, but
Hmm.
I was not. For some reason, I felt like I was being pushed and guided, so I was rescued. And that was, I didn't get to walk to school alone again. My parents had to find someone to walk me and also take the bus for now on, and not be walking alone.
Did
So,
they
but,
catch the
other than that,
kidnapper? Did
no,
they catch?
no.
No.
And they tried to work with me, and I didn't know what kind of car or anything because, I just ran real quick. I knew it was a station wagon, but I didn't know what kind or anything. Then they asked me to describe the people, and I said, like a grandma and grandpa, and they were just looking. I was like, that's all I can say. It was a big man, and he had a really big stomach, and he was bald. I remember that. And she looked like a grandmother with the thick glasses on and stuff, and she was smiling, very nice. But it was like, oh, but it was just very eventful. But yeah, that was the one time that I really credit Saint Michael and all the angels, and especially my guardian angel. So that is That was the number one, and he's never failed me through all the years.
We're glad you're not just a statistic, Maya. Grateful
Oh,
that, wow.
it, and just for some reason, but I'm always protected. There is something that swoops down, the angels swoop down and protect me, so that was good. So, but other saints that I like, of course, is Saint Joseph. I didn't really have a father growing up, so Papa Joseph was always there. And of course, the next one would be St. Jude. Whenever I had a problem or super problem, that was who, he was who I would prayed for. Something very difficult happening in my life. Of course, St. Anthony, he has helped me look for things because I'm really forgetful. Or I forget where do I put that. So I really have to be organized and put things exactly in the same place. Otherwise, I
Mhm.
get in trouble. So, St. Thomas Aquinas,
Mm.
oh, he's
Oh, wow.
beautiful saint. Oh, he's
Angelic
just
strength. Mhm.
so beautiful.
Angelic
Saint,
doctor of the church.
isn't he? Oh, it's just like, oh,
Mhm.
Saint Francis of Assisi. I love animals. So,
Wow.
and all kinds of animals. I went to Assisi and I went to his shrine, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was
Mm.
just beautiful. So that was just gorgeous.
Oh.
Saint Benedict, because he's one of my protectors.
Quick question.
Uh-huh.
Sorry to interrupt you. Can we rewind? What draws you to St. Thomas Aquinas?
Just the way he teaches the word
Yeah.
and all the books that he's written. I am saved. I would just love to be able to buy the books.
This is
He
my
has got a
patron saint
library
too.
of books, and I would really love
Mhm.
to read them all.
My
I just
patron
get
saint.
you what? He's
My
your patron
patron
saint?
saint.
Oh, yeah,
My patron
Thomas.
Oh,
saint. Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah. I
yes.
have great
You know,
affection for him.
it's just wow. His teachings are just beyond.
They're
And
phenomenal.
every word is like I feel so close to God. He's very special. But for the females, there is Saint Ursula because I went to Saint Ursuline School for Girls in high school, so I was a
I did
Ursuline
too.
student.
I went to Ursuline Academy in Cleveland.
Yes, yes. Sister. So, yes, it's Ursula School for Girls, and she was always there, and always protecting all of us girls, and making sure we're not hurt, and that no men. This is San Francisco, so a lot of times men knew that if there was an all girls school, there'd be kind of creepy men that hang out. But
Yes.
we were lucky we didn't have, we had a few incidents, but over my 4 years, but nowhere near as much as, they have in public school and stuff. So we knew that she was protecting us.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, it's just, if they know girls are there and it's an all girls school, there's some weirdos out there. And then, of course, there's Saint Philomena, that little sweet girl. She has helped me with here and there.
Mm.
She was just so cute when I remember to pray for her. She's such adorable. Saint Bernadette, I actually went to Lourdes, and I had so many beautiful little graces happen to me there. But the number one grace is was running to her house to see it before it closed, and I went in there, and there was a pilgrimage party there, and just a party of people, and they were talking and stuff, and I went to the door where this lady was monitoring the door, and I said, is it okay if I can go see the house? I'm not with this group. And she looked at me, she smiled, she says, go in there, go ahead and go in there. So I was alone in Bernadette's house for a good 20 minutes,
Oh, wow.
and that was so beautiful because I felt like I was there with the family trying to picture them. I saw the little fireplace, and it's a small home, and I saw in the corner, and I said, this must have been where the girls slept, and this is the other corner. This must have been where the parents slept. And
Hmm.
it's just one room. And it was an ex jail,
Right.
so
I lived in the jail. Nobody else would live. Where
yeah,
nobody else would live.
yeah, yeah, where nobody else. And they were, it's very small.
And very
It's
cold.
Very cold, yes, very, very cold. So, but I was just so happy to be there. So that was, wonderful. Saint Therese de Lisieux is my confirmation saint. I love her. The book she wrote, A Story of a Soul.
Mhm.
She just wants you to try and do little things. And like in the Bible, just read a little paragraph. I mean, it just gets you going. It's like, yeah, you could do that, even with how busy you are during the day. But Saint Therese, I feel like is my spiritual sister. I always feel that she's near me, and I always picture her in my imagination, smiling and happy. And of course, she loves Saint Joan of Arc. She actually was in a play playing Saint Joan of Arc,
Yeah,
and
there's those
that's when.
famous photos of her, right?
Yes,
Dressed
of
up.
her in her costume. And I love Saint Joan of Arc because she's such a fighter. That's what I love to do is fight the evil. So
There
that's
we go.
So those are some of the saints, the main ones that I can remember because
Wow.
there's so many. But that's the reason.
Okay, that's interesting. You got quite a mix. Thanks, Maya. So in the YouTube chat, some people are saying some of their favorite saints. We have Saint Padre Pio, Saint Mary of Egypt. Hey, we got a Saint Joseph. Nice. Uh, let's see, another Padre Pio. So let's see who's next. Caddy Paul, since you're next on the list, do you want to go? Who's your favorite saints?
St. Francis of Assisi. And
Okay, and what makes that
I-
connection
I'm
for
an
you?
animal lover. In fact, I'm standing outside right now watching my feral cats eat.
Oh,
They know what time I see the rosary. They know I'm outside
hmm.
under God's sky, and they come to get dinner and pray with me. So St. Francis of Assisi is probably my favorite.
Oh, wow. That's
Padre
awesome.
Pio,
He's a
because
favorite to many people.
oh, in fact, his bones are being exhibited right now.
Oh,
They,
St. Francis?
yes, I'm not sure what church he's at, but for the next month, his bones are being honored.
Oh, wow.
I just saw it on YouTube.
I have a relic of him.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, say a prayer for me with him.
I will.
Adam, do you want to tell us who your favorite saints are?
Well, my favorite is Saint Joseph because my one of the reasons because my middle name is Joseph. He's just been just a prominent person in my life. He was always answering, like when I would go to Saint Joseph in my troubles, and when I was having problems, he would always, get me out of them. So he was always faithful to listen and to hear my troubles and to get me out. So, and also because my last name as well in the Irish Gaelic is son of the carpenter. So
Oh,
Oh, no
Joseph,
way.
son of the carpenter. So I have a connection in that way too. I went to
that's
St.
interesting.
Joseph's Middle School. I worked at St. Joseph's Hospital. So I have a lot of different connections with St. Joseph. And
That's
then
so
St.
cool.
Anthony. St. Anthony, I think I said the other night, or St. Anthony, I told you last Monday, the St.
He
Anthony
helped you
story.
find
So
your key,
yeah, he's
yeah.
always been faithful to me as well. He's always been, every time I've asked for St. Anthony's help, and not just for finding things, but as well, like going to St. Joseph, I went to St. Anthony for helping me out of this knot or this situation that's difficult. And then he would be very faithful
Hmm.
to get me out. And so those are my two favorites, really. Um, and just not as favorite, but I do have an affection for Saint Alphonsus de Liguori. I used to go to Redemptor's Parish years ago, so I have a affinity for him. And Saint Therese of Lisieux. After I read her autobiography, I developed a relationship with her. I remember one time when I was working at the hospital, St. Joseph's. Um, This was actually on her feast day, or to be the day before her feast day. And you know, the story of the rose. If you ask her to send you a rose, she'll send you a rose. So I prayed to her and I asked her to send me a rose. So the next day, on her feast day, I went to work, and you know, I was expecting to see a rose, but I didn't. You know, this is at a hospital. I didn't see a rose anywhere around. And then on my shift, I had to work with two other people, and these two other people were female, and both of the ladies' names were Rose.
No
So,
way.
yes. So I said, "Oh, that's funny, Saint Therese, real funny." So she
Gee
sent me two
whiz.
roses in the form of human of coworkers of
She got a sense of humor.
yeah, very much.
Okay, well, that's awesome. I'm glad St. Joseph is at the top of your list, though. Not that I'm biased or anything, but you know. JM Arcia, would you like to share who your favorite saints are?
Well, besides Saint Joseph, because
Gotta
I
have St.
recently
Joseph.
I recently did like a consecration to Saint Joseph by
Father
Father.
Calloway?
Yeah, that's right. That's the one.
Oh, awesome.
And I finished it last year. And also, well, Saint Jude Thaddeus is one of my favorite saints because I came to him for almost everything. But I have this disposition where I feel like sometimes, well, most of the situations in my life are pretty helpless. Like, well, I prayed to him because I failed my first take of the Philippine bar exam. So I
Mhm.
prayed to him, and then so I got it in the second take, and then also in the Kentucky bar exam, I failed my first take, and then I prayed to him, and then
Hmm.
yeah, and of course for my child, uh, we finally had
Right,
him.
your son's name is Thaddeus.
Yes, and
Right.
yeah, I I I also love this story about like how he was just sent by Jesus to like a king, or was it a king or it's a noble? And well, I think he just brought a cloth that was brought by Jesus or something. Yeah, and that noble was healed, and I think he was converted too. And I
Also,
also,
that's why we always see him, I guess, with a picture of Jesus around his neck.
yeah,
I always
I think
wondered.
that, yeah, and I think his relic is like an arm or something. He did great things, and
Mhm.
he was forgotten, but he's still a saint. And I feel like my fear is actually being insignificant, but
Mhm.
uh, with Saint Jude, I realized that being insignificant or the last of, is not a bad thing because yes, it's a good thing actually, being last. So
Because
I
at the
had to
beginning, nobody really had devotion to him, right?
yes,
They kind of forgot
because
about him. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
another one of my favorite saints is Saint Teresa of Avila because I I just finished reading the Interior Castle,
Oh, yeah.
and it speaks of
It's a
like,
masterpiece.
yeah, it's very sweet, I would say, but I had to like break it down into many parts. But it's and I also was listening to an audiobook of her autobiography, and we had the same, almost the same problems like vanity and like um relationships with others, or that becomes my idol sometimes, like my reputation. And right now, with all that's happening to me, I'm being humbled, and it's a purgation
Mhm.
of sorts, or something that I need to undergo. I learned to thank God for the suffering, uh, whatever I'm going through. I think I remember Saint Philomena because I studied in in elementary school in the Philippines. In the school was named Colegio de Santa Filomena, so we had a deep devotion to her. So I like I was very fascinated at how her story is like legend of sorts, and that she died very young, and she was very pure. So I whenever I have troubles with chastity, I I sometimes pray to her so that I may so that I yeah, and I remember sometimes I have dreams of going back to that school, yeah, because those were the best probably the best days of my life, because
Wow.
my faith was formed there, and I went to a very secular high school and university, and if I didn't go to that school and had devotion to Saint Philomena, uh, I would have probably been worse off, yeah, and I might have lost my faith. And I'm glad I did, and I did have my formation there, and she she probably prayed for me when I was in high school and college, doing worldly things. And,
Mm.
so after that, I found my faith again, even after going through the worldly things. I think that's all I have for now.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Thanks very much for sharing that. On YouTube, Asuntani says, Saint Joseph is my son's name, so I pray for him all the time. Okay, another Saint Joseph. Good Day says, I pray with different saints like Saint Therese, also Saint Expedite, San Diego de Alcala, San Sebastian, and others. So let's see who we have on Zoom. Thomas, do you want to share who your favorite saints are?
First on my list, I have to really acknowledge Our Lady. The Blessed Mother is really my favorite of favorite saints. She's never failed in any of my requests. And I may have mentioned this before. Every time I hold the rosary, I feel like I'm holding her hand.
Mhm.
And in one message, she said that the rosary is the holiest of her jewels. And and so it's very dear to my heart. And I also have a devotion to Saint Joseph, because
That's
of
awesome.
course espoused to him, and of course the foster father of Jesus, and Saint Francis of Assisi, since I'm a tertiary Franciscan, and I have um, most of the relics of the saints in the Universal Church, so I'm really blessed. Even with the apostles, all the doctors of the
Wow.
church. And before I ask for any of these relics, I always read their lives, and so they're all very close to me. And um, but many of them, I like Saint Charles de Foucauld. He used to be blessed for a long time. His abandonment prayer is just beautiful. He tells Jesus to do with him what he will. Whatever he does is what he wants. It's just a beautiful, in French, it's even more beautiful. Um, and Teresa of Avila, of course, and Saint Catherine of Siena, the two doctors of the church, Saint Hildegard of Bingen. Um, there's some Saint Pope Leo the 13th. Um, he's
Nice.
not a saint, but I have great devotion to him. And there's so many Saint Thomas Aquinas, and I like Saint Carlo Acutis and
Mhm.
Saint Pier Giorgio, who just became a saint. I have Pier Giorgio's relic, and when he was blessed, I really enjoyed reading uh, the book that Saint Alphonsus Liguori wrote, The Glories of Mary. And
Mhm.
there's so many beautiful passages in that book. I could go on and on and on. Good night. God bless.
So I think that's everybody on Zoom, unless Penitent wants to share. Penitent, do you want to share who your favorite saints are? Or even just type it in the chat if you don't want to talk it. And I was going to talk about some of mine, but it is getting kind of late here, so maybe we'll do mine another time. Jay, this chat is therapeutic to me. Hey, you know what? Doing this rosary and stuff and socializing like this is a big therapy for me too. I appreciate it. Oh, Penitent is praying with Alvaro. Okay, that's good.
Well, we know Saint Joseph is your numero
Yeah.
uno, but how about one more?
If I had to pick okay, well, for me, okay, Our Lady is obviously number one, right? But Saint Joseph.
Mhm.
If I had to pick another one, I will say I've always felt a connection to this saint, Saint Francisco Marto.
Hmm.
I was always drawn to him. So I'll say Our Lady, Saint Joseph, and Saint Francisco. But yeah, that'll be a talk for another time because it's already getting late here. But that's my top three, I guess. Okay.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. So yeah, it was fascinating hearing everybody's saints and the reasons and all that. Quite a mixed bag. It's pretty cool. Okay, good night, folks.
Good
Right.
night.
Good night.
Buenas noches.